Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachak Wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught us all this truth in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm Shaquat, and I'm back here with another lesson, Lord willing, that's edifying to the hopeful elect, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baragatham. To you, sincere Akim, walk with you, minister and sincere shalom to you, brothers that are out here pushing this truth down the highways and the byways and through the YouTube blessings, man. Shalom to you all. I do hope and pray that this is edifying to the elect. All right, exhorting. All right, so I'm not gonna make this too long. Just the verse of the day that popped up. I decided to click on it today, so we're gonna do it through the spirit, the water, Yahweh Shemel Shai. So I have it at the top. Malachi 3:17, and they that shall and they shall be mine, saith Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Okay. So there you go. That's pretty much the point. Right. So I want to actually put it up over here. Then we're going to come back to this Matthew 13. So let's go over here in the blue letter to Malachi 3, and we're going to start at verse 16. So that's the book of remembrance, which is what we have right now in our possession. This is the book of remembrance, where we're reading from. All right. The Lord said at the end in 2nd Ezra 6:20, and Daniel 12:4, Revelation, I believe the 6th chapter, and various other scriptures. The Lord said at the end, He's going to loose the seals of this book. He's going to loose the seals of this book, and this book will be magnified, because it had to be in order for the end to come. Matthew 24:14, all the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached throughout the whole world, and to be a witness unto all nations, then shall the end come. All right, so this had to happen. This is really that book of remembrance. All right, and it had to be because we had to remember who we were as a people. All right, we had to remember. That's why the Lord said in 2 Peter 3, or was it 1 Peter 3? It's one of the two. Where the Lord said, I will stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. All right, the 2nd chapter, where we read. All right, Baruch 2:30, where the Lord said, all right, in the land of our captivities, we're going to turn back and worship Him. We're going to return unto Him, and we're going to fear and call on His names in the lands of our captivity. Right? So we're remembering who we are as a people. All right, you understand? After the 2 days, we're going to be revived, like it says in Hosea. Right? So all this is prophecy at the end of the day. So we're going to start here at verse 16, Malachi 3:16. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh, which is what we at now. We see this now, and this is really ultimately for those who fear Yahweh. Yeah, the book is the book for the Israelites, but now you have everybody taking hold to it, even those who are not Israelites thinking that the book is written for them, which is why people believe in a heathen salvation when there is no heathen salvation. There's not even a complete Israelite salvation. Not even all of Israel will make it on this side. So how the hell is the heathen going to escape? Right? And it's not like all heathens around the world, just because they don't have salvation, they're just going to fucking die. Not everywhere is getting nuked, right? All right, like for France, for example. France. All of France is not going to be fucking, it's not going to be destroyed. All of France isn't going to eat a nuke. Like, all heathens are going to die in France. Like, just giving a slight example. And please forgive me, it's some stupid train coming. So, give me a moment, Baba Kasha. Just bear with me a moment. Salakia for that. All right, hold on again. All right, let's go back. Start from the top. Malachi 3:16. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh, in their thought upon his name. So IUIC, y'all must have never read this precept before, along with many others. All right. We think upon his name. You were to think upon his name. How the hell are we going to think upon his name if it wasn't revealed unto us? Make no goddamn sense. We're going to get it in the kingdom. We're going to be 10,000 years in the kingdom. Then he's going to give us his name. Like, just stupid shit like that. Now, they ain't say that specifically or nothing, but I'm just saying. That's how they be playing. And they shall be mine, saith the Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Now, who is this who he's going to spare? Who's going to be his in that day? It's the elect. All right, when Yahweh Shai put up that prayer in John the 17th chapter, that's for the elect's sake. You understand? The Lord was putting up a prayer for the elect. All right? So that's what that all goes into. This is the elect, because there is only a select few believers of the house of Israel. All right, that were hand chosen. You know, you see that, man. The Lord said in the book of Romans, not all they that are Israel are, not all Israel is Israel, ultimately. All right, so not all the Israelites are true believers. They're not of the house of God, is what it was saying. And you also go further to Romans, the 11th chapter. All right, it speaks about people having the zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. You know, and then you also have precepts going in the book of Romans in that same chapter where it says, you know, the elect will understand, but, you know, the rest, they won't get it. All right, so this is the elect that it's talking about, the house of Israel. It says, then shall you return and discern between the righteous. So we're now here and we've returned, and now we're discerning between the righteous and the wicked. Those who believe, those who are of the elect, and we're discerning between those who are not of the elect. All right, so all of this is prophecy. It says, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. All right, and that's what we're discerning between right now. We know, as the Lord said, judgment will start at the house of God, those who believe in this truth. You know? So there you go. That's all prophecy, and we're here doing it. Even Yahweh Shai said we would do this. When you read here at Matthew 13 and 47, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, all kinds, Israelites, everything, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good in vessels, but cast the bad away. So we, like the Lord said, we will preach this gospel of the kingdom unto all nations, man. So we're discerning, we're sifting through the Spirit. The Lord is sifting the house of Israel from among all nations, like he said in Amos, the 9th chapter. All right, because we've been mingled amongst all nations, right? But through that, if you're a heathen, you're being, you know, you're cast out. You know, trying to be fishing, you cast that one out. You know, come in, you're really an unbeliever, you're really not a elect, you cast out. Or you a believer, we keep you, throw you in the bucket. You know, it's just like that. All right? It says, and cast the bad away, so shall it be at the end of the world, which is where we're at now. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and that's what's happening, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. All right, now that furnace of fire is what? The nuclear war. All right, the lake of fire. That's what it's talking about. Okay, and it says, Yahweh Shai saith unto them, have ye understood all these things? They say unto him, yeah, Lord. Then said he unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. Right? So all of this, at the end of the day, all of this is about prophecy. Everything we're preaching here is just about prophecy. That's it. That's all. You know, it was prophecy that we would come back at the end, believe in the Lord, read from this book of remembrance, and we would discern between the righteous and the wicked through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That's just the facts. That's the facts at the end of the day. And the Lord said we are fishers of men. When you go to Matthew, the 4th chapter, here in Matthew 4 and 19, and he saith unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. All right, that's where you get that Jeremiah 16 and 16. All right, for I sent forth many fishers, and ye shall fish them. All right, then I sent forth many hunters. All right, so right now we're in the fishing process. As long as the doors of mercy is still open, as long as all hell has not broken loose, we're still in the phase of fishing. All right, but pretty soon, coming up very shortly, we're going to be in a phase of hunting where the Lord is going to bestow that power upon his men. All right, but right now, as of right now, we're still in the fishing phase. All right, we're still in the fishing phase right now, fishing for the elect, until the elect is completely sealed, until the Lord ready to bring that destruction nigh. All right, so I do hope and pray that this will edify to the elect. I would like to close this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us all this truth in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And until next time, Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala, Gadol Abadyam, Lababal, Hakadol, Yahweh Mahar, will have a thumb. And until next time, I would like to say unto you all, Shalom. Shalom.